lovely Mel, quiet evening. But I haven't heard, but I see Jerry strolling in because I had no idea what turnout's going to be like, and I haven't heard from our phenomenal feature from Eric Esden. Hi, you're on the list, my darling. And our feature's not even here yet, so I can't even do a screaming, hollering Eric Esden because I have no way to get a hold of him, and I know nothing for certain and for realsies or anything. I'm talking. There's a lot of stuff going on with bands and everything tonight, so I thought I would start just by reading a couple of things from the most recent issue of Down in the Dirt, because it's a bunch of Spanish moss on the cover, and I happen to like them. But just because I do prose, because it doesn't have to be poetry, and if somebody brought a guitar or something, you can do some music here, and that'd be awesome. So these are two pieces. This one is called Clay. So I was at this bar on the coast of Florida, the west side, the Gulf side, and there was this place called Lama Kai, and my friend gave me a ride all the way back from Naples, which is a good 45-minute drive away from the place. So we sat in this sitting area. It was actually at the bar, and it was actually half indoors and half on the beach. And all these old men started staring at my friend's chest. A couple guys bought us beer, and one guy even asked me to dance. I was surprised he asked me to dance, and not my friend. Men were usually more attracted to her. But the guys were jerks. Anyway, one looked like a Marine with a haircut and must have been high on something, and one looked like he decided to forego hygiene, and another was twice my age. It's not as if I was trying to pick up men at bars anyway. So after a while, I couldn't stand being at the bar next to the reggae band that was playing. I never really liked reggae music anyway. I mean, it's too slow to dance to. So I begged my friend to come walk with me out on the beach. Christ, I felt like a 10-year-old with a bucket and shovel when I kicked off my black suede shoes and ran into that water. I always love the feel of sand when it's drenched in water. It feels like clay as it seeps around my toes, pulling me into the ground. So there I was, splashing in the water, wearing a black sequin dress, throwing my purse at the shore, taking a swig from my can of Miller Lite. This was life, I thought, pure and simple. An army couldn't have dragged me out of that water. So my friend found some guy to hit on, as she usually does, and she wanted me to hit on her friend. I found him ugly as all sin and impossible to talk to. I told him that one of the rafts on the beach was actually mine, and instead of driving to the bar, I sailed. And he believed me. I told my friend flat out that I would not go with him. She was pissed that I didn't find this man good looking. So then he strolled up from the bar to the beach, an intriguing stranger, and he walked right up next to me. He stood in the water, still wearing his shoes and long pants, seemed to know that I needed to be saved by a knight in shining armor. And he said hello to me, and he started talking to me, and he cracked a few jokes, and he made me laugh. And okay, I'll admit it, he was good looking, really good looking. I remember at one point looking at him and it made me think of a Greek statue. But those Greek statues could never talk to me. They have no color. They didn't come alive. They're made of stone. His name was Clay. And when we talked, he talked and he crept into my pores the way sand made its way between my toes. His voice tunneled through me, boring me hollow, making me anxiously await to be filled with more and more of his words. My friend disappeared with her newfound monosyllabic lover for hours, long after the bar had closed, leaving me stranded. There I was, 45 miles north of my home at 2:20 in the morning with no mode of transportation. It could have been worse. I could have been somewhere other than on a beach. I could have been sober, and I might not have had a knight in shining armor named Clay to save me. And as he drove me home, an hour and a half out of his way, I couldn't help but run my fingers through his hair. It was an uncontrollable impulse, like the urge to drag your fingers deep into the wet sand. I told him that I was just trying to keep him awake for the drive. It's almost better if I never see him again. Then I can always think of him this way. Hey. Oh, Eric, that's going to do it. Call early yay for Eric as he's coming in. It makes me very, very happy because I love hearing that man's voice. And I'll do lots of cheering for him. But I'm going to read one more piece from Down the Dirt. And I probably won't read any more from this one in this issue because I keep getting ones of new issues. But this is a different one about considering relationships, I guess. This one's called Done This Before. I keep looking back at your picture. I'll flip it over and just stop myself from staring at it while I read a page from my book. But a minute won't pass before I'll have to turn the photo over again and see your face. It's as if I can't get away from it. My flight was delayed. I'm at O'Hare Airport, the airport that departs 3 planes every second. Or is it 1 plane every 3 seconds? Oh shit, I don't remember. I have to wait at least 3 hours for the next flight. Hey, if so many planes take off here, then why can't I get on one of them? Oh, well, so I decided to waste my time at this airport cocktail bar, for the one by gate L4. I thought I'd start with White Zinfandel and work my way to the mixed drinks, but this wine tastes so good, I think I might just have to have another. I'm so exasperated. I hate having to wait, and all I have is a good book to keep me company. I use your photo for my wallet as a bookmark. I need these things to keep me sane. It really isn't that bad here in the cocktail bar by gate L4. The chairs aren't that uncomfortable, even though they're a pretty ugly shade of green that doesn't match anything in the room. It's really not that bad in this foreign city, in a foreign airport. Not when I have my Sutter Home White Zinfandel and a picture of you. There's a blonde girl dressed well with a bad perm across the bar, and she's smoking a cigarette. I know I don't smoke, but I'm almost tempted to ask her for one, just so that I can hold the cigarette the way you do. I like the taste of the tar, the nicotine, the way I taste it in your kiss. You think I don't like it, but I do. They're playing a song at this cocktail bar, a song that reminds me of an ex. I wanted to marry that man. He had a knack of being able to envelop me, to take my troubles away. I don't know if I can take away my troubles myself anymore. I don't know if the liquor's helping, or the cigarettes. Your photo helps, my little bookmark. At least for now, it helps. Sitting in this L4 cocktail bar reminds me of my brother. When I was young, he'd always pick us up at the airport. But if he wasn't waiting for us at the gate, we knew to look for him at the seafood cocktail bar. Part of me expects him to come walking through the doors now. Flannel shirt, ski jacket, wind-blown greasy hair, Coke bottle glasses. When I look at his eyes through those glasses, his eyes looked like they were twice as big as they actually were. I could imagine him now. I could imagine the smell of his Levi's, of dirt from the construction site. I remember that smell from my father. I'd smell it every day when he came home from work. It's my brother's business now. He's got his own family now to worry about instead of his little sister. So I'll just sit here at this airport cocktail bar, remembering the days when I'd sit with him in a place like this, and I was too young to drink. God, I want to see my brother walking in this bar at L4, ordering a shrimp cocktail. I want to see you babbling on about a movie you reviewed or a gig your band just had. I want something that isn't so foreign, like this bar. Or maybe I want something that isn't so familiar. I took your photo out of my wallet, the wallet that has so many pictures of men who have come and gone in my life, men who have hurt me, men who I've gone through like dishwashing liquid, or like something I use all the time and replace all the time and don't think twice about. I'll just sit here in this airport, trying to care just the right amount. Not too much, but not too little. So I'll just sit here in this airport cocktail bar, looking at your photo and wondering if I've done this before. Thank you. That was a weird one to go through, and I might read something from an upcoming book if I can please get my, I'm going to put this down, get my Joffrey on out there. Joffrey, come on, my darling.
I'll do three. Beginning with the one you have. The first word is both titled Somewhere. Somewhere there's music. As time slips by, upstairs, as lives slip away, every day, people pay taxes for their right to vote being stolen, plundered for wars, stolen, as Obama slyly reminded us the night before, this 89th anniversary of FDR going in with the Marines to steal the autonomy of Haiti, as ignored as the Palestinians, at the Fleet Center. Fleet, the fleet which takes us back to Haiti. It's more important not to register for the draft than to register for the vote, which may even not give you a choice. Somewhere there's music behind me, thank you, and in a rare memory for Ella Fitzgerald. That comes from a porch reading at Hill Complex at Chopin Theater back when. I might have done these before. I hope I do them better this time. It's first from the Market Street Press, a Rockford paper, which I picked up in Sosa Library after Ida invited me and others to participate in deciding the future of saloon poets. And an hour later, she absolutely banned me from her saloon poets. Not even wanted me to be present in a public space. Well, this is the May issue, and that May has Mother's Day and Memorial Day, and this is a poem by Flora Cousins, titled A Mother's Love. A mother carries her child under her heart, letting nothing and no one tear them apart. She's now ready to give birth, pain and agony for what it's worth. A mother's love is the greatest on earth. She loves you unconditionally, no matter what you say or do. Whether you tell a lie or tell the truth, she loves you. When you're up or down, smiling or wearing a frown, a mother's love, there's no compare. No matter what, she's always there. When you're sick or well, it's your mother who can tell. She is the one that gives you change, takes her fur coat back and buys you a high school ring. A mother's love never changes, even if she doesn't know your dad's name. She loves you just the same. A mother's love is a wonderful thing. She does all she can, never passing the blame. I hope you appreciate your mother. She's next to God. Don't you just love her? I take some exception to that in this next one. The title is Remember the Conscientious Objector in two parts. One, Remember the Conscientious Objector by Jane Gold. Remember the conscientious objector does not have the ring, the seductive assonance of remember our troops on page 4 of the Market Street News. But I persist. Remember the conscientious objector, forgetting not the tax resister, also objector, as a Vietnam dove is transspeciated into a hawk by the politics, anti-Palestinian politics, of positioning cruise missiles to take out mothers, whoever, along with planes, whatever, as I peruse a Mother's Day issue of this Rockford News that apparently takes no notice of Bradley or Chelsea, condemned to 35 years of celibacy, apparently, by conscience, so much less ambiguous than that of John Kerry, who once threw away somebody else's medals, only to end up producing equally immoral conflict from which to mint medals that Mother's Day was meant conscientiously to put a stop to, but perverted by lethal sentimentality, the lethal amoral sentimentality of a mother's love, part of the flora of the Market Street press, affect conflated with Memorial Day militarized, a day to disremember conscientious objectors who started the civil rights movement, not quite a human rights movement, while doing time in prison, gay and straight, none of them transgendering, of which I know, although by Rustin, somewhat transspeciated, from dove to hawkish, and worse, Zionist, when Kerry was turning from hawk to dovish, hurling his objections at Congress, ships that pass in the night. 2. Insidious patriotism subverts nonviolence as it assaults my identity with the language of our troops, which they cannot be because a pacifist is unarmed. In real time, serious time, subversive to CIA boots on the ground, immiserating mothers and memorializing Mars, exalted in the Star-Spangled Banner of a plantation owner, the only relief from which was to hear it played in the 35th Chicago Jazz Fest with such sophistication that my simple mind could hardly recognize it, as I noticed how I was not the only one not to stand for it.
My notebook, I can only half clap. Thank you very much, Joffrey. Because this is a weirdo intro starting thing, I thought I'd actually read something of mine because, I don't know, if some of you remember a man named Alan Stevo who actually featured at the cafe years ago. He's in the Bratislava, living most of the time now, and we've worked on having a book together where we've got some of our poems, some about the Velvet Revolution, and some about things that I've done with acquaintance rape work, with sexism stuff, and stuff that I did in relationship to almost dying in an auto accident. And some of those poems have been translated into Slovak as well, which I'm not going to try to read those because I would screw that up so bad. But I thought I would read two accident-related pieces that I had from this, and I I have no idea what you'll get out of these, so I'm just going to do this. This is, as I said, these are related to the accident where I almost died years ago. This is called The Things They Did to You. When you hear that you were so close to death, you don't think about it. You feel fine. You couldn't have been that bad. But you were on a respirator to breathe for you while the doctors just hoped and waited for you to start breathing again. And you couldn't eat. You were unconscious for days. They had to actually give you food through a tube that went straight to your stomach. You even got the scar on your stomach to prove it, where that tube came out of your body. There's a piece of metal in your body that the doctors put in there in case you had blood clots that tried to move their way through your arteries to your heart or your lungs or your brain. Granted, they're being kind to place that vena cava filter in your body now means an MRI you might need in the future to help you would only kill you with that vena cava filter in your body, but they say they were doing everything only in your best interest. They had an intracranial pressure monitor surgically attached to your head because your skull was fractured in 3 places and your brain was swollen, maybe scraping against your skull, so they could measure if there was too much pressure on your brain. Yeah, I suppose it was fair to say that you almost died. But you're fine now. At least no one will tell you that. But I'm sure you know that by now. What does it feel like if you're almost dead? I mean, you have to think about your own life and what it meant to you and to other generations. Would any of this surgery matter? Well, you wouldn't be dead, I guess. But what if you were no longer here on this planet? What if you were not alive? Would anyone miss you? Would anyone write poems about you or cry for you? Well, people might get used to the fact that you were gone. Time heals all wounds, as they say. You, if you were thinking about it after you were gone, you'd still be angry, I'm sure. That doesn't go away. It never does. Get used to it. These are the fun poems. This is one that I wrote in a feature for Beach Poets related to the accent. This is called Left with a Hole. You ever see TV shows or in the movies how some protagonist would fall into a coma? I don't know from what. A gunshot, a car crash. Well, every time they wake up from their coma, and they're under from like 4 weeks to 4 years, they come out of it, and they're mentally just fine. They talk in complete sentences, and they remember what happened to them right up to that catastrophe, right before they were shot, right before that car crash. But let me be the voice of experience. In the real world, that's not the way it goes. You don't remember what happened right before that coma began. You'll wake up confused because the long-term memory never got the chance to save your short-term memories from that fateful day. And when you wake up, you'll have to train yourself to walk and talk and eat again. And you'll fall out of your hospital bed trying to leave. You'll want to kill the people that did this to you. You'll want to scream your story to the world, and all of them have to know, and they'll even put you in restraints at night, you know, for your own good. You want to rip that food tube out of you. You won't be afraid to put food into your mouth once they actually take that tube out. But look, you have to remind yourself that you've done this before, this eating thing. It's not hard. Everyone does it. Put some food on a fork. Put it in your mouth. Remove food. Fork. Start chewing. Just swallow. I know it seems strange, but you can do this. You have to build your life again, piece by piece. I mean, you did this from scratch when you were little. You were just a baby. Now you're an adult. This shouldn't be that hard. You can retrain yourself. People will ask you to remember what happened to you that fateful day, and they'll think it's just like the movies where everyone just snaps out of the coma and be as good as new. But you don't know how to tell them that you'll never be as good as new. And nothing you can say will make them understand. that even though you woke up, those bastards that did this to you, they took so much that you can't even remember the seconds before your life was forever changed for the worse. You're left with the whole. They even took your memories of the last seconds of your life from you. And on that, thank you, and on that happy note, I'm going to tell my ultra wonderful, sexy sidekick Bob Rashkow on up here. Get on up your monsters! I have no idea what you're reading, but I think you're reading some things from cc&d magazine. Right. Whatever it is, I'm looking forward. I'm like, whatever it is, I'm not sure.
Maybe I'm somebody one of yours.
Oh, well. Okay.
From the Chicago Pulse section.
Uh-oh.
Well, since I survived colorectal cancer a couple of years ago, that is in keeping with what she just said. Because it is much harder. It is much harder as an adult to bounce back than when you're a baby. Because when you're a baby, if you're lucky, you got people doing stuff for you. Anyway. I did want to make one brief announcement. I want to plug Monday night, September 23rd at Powell's Bookstore at Halstead and Roosevelt. Dan Godston as a kind of a pre-Chicago Calling event. I don't think there are any slots left in it, but I'm not sure. I was too late to read it myself. He's doing a banned books reading in which people are going to read from books that have been banned in different places. Everything from Madeline L'Engle's A Wrinkle in Time to Go Ask Alice. So it should be a lot of fun. It's going to be Monday night, I think at 7:30 at Powell's Bookstore.
Why was A Wrinkle in Time banned?
Because it has witchcraft in it. How about that? Huh?
Go Ask Alice was banned?
Yes, because that has drugs and sex in it. Okay, anyways. Or, you know, The Catcher in the Rye.
Yeah.
Brave New World, you know, all kinds of wonderful books.
Ulysses, James Joyce. Those were required readings.
Yeah, USA, right.
That was required reading for me.
Oh, I know. Well, there are places that are more open-minded than others, I suppose, at varying degrees, anyway. Now, this book here, of course, is Children, Churches, and Daddies, otherwise known as cc&d, the September issue, and I'm going to read a few from there. The first one, mostly because I forgot to bring my notebook, which has a new poem in it. Oh well, maybe next time. I was in a hurry. I was really in a hurry. This is called Chocolate Covered Cherry Diet, and it's by one Dan Fitzgerald. I gave up listening to chocolate covered cherries telling me how much weight I have gained. The mirror in the bathroom was getting pissed at losing its job. So I told the little delights to can it, banishing them to the back of the fridge to chew the fat with that pudgy appliance. That's that one. This is by Doug Draime, and it's called Entertainment, 1920 to Present. The guy who sat 2 seats behind you in the 10th grade who could fart louder than anyone in school. The same guy who came up to you at a high school dance and brushed his fingers under your nose and said, "Smell," after being in the back seat with your ex-girlfriend. This guy has become a star, writing his autobiography, which is being made into a movie with him starring. He's giving interviews about the profundity of his popularity, and on a special TV show, he came flying down from the ceiling on pulleys, and when he landed, he farted, and huge puffs of smoke and flames shot all over the stage. There was a French guy who toured all the finest theaters of Europe in the 1920s. Who could... Then the page back here, okay. Who could blow out candles and make his ass talk and sing Parisian lullabies. And I bet he got rich and got a lot of pussy too. this is by someone you might know by the name of Janet Kuypers. It's one of her dream poems. It's a dream she had on December 3rd, 2012, or maybe that's the day you wrote the poem, I'm not sure. Dreams 12-3-12. So I was in the cul-de-sac on my street, and I had to use the washroom. So I thought of going to the bathroom in my house. It was really gorgeous, the bathroom in my house. It had floor-to-ceiling windows, so you could see the world while you are going to the bathroom. But I figured that since people were on my street all going to a neighbor's garage sale, that I shouldn't use my bathroom where everyone could see me sitting on the toilet. Looking back, why did I have a bathroom like that with floor-to-ceiling windows in a populated area? I mean, did I want this exposed bathroom so I could feel like I could commune with nature or something? I don't get it. Either way, I walked to a neighbor's house. I assume I asked their permission to use the bathroom, but I can't remember. And I went to the small bathroom, closed the door, pulled my pants down, and sat on the toilet. And I looked up and saw that this bathroom had 2 doors on 2 opposite adjacent walls, and that's when someone walked in and went through the other door. And I thought, wait a minute, I'm using this bathroom. Why did someone pay no attention and just walk through? But then someone else walked in to walk through the other door again. So I said, excuse me, what are you doing? I'm using the bathroom here. And they responded, but this is the only way to get through. And I'm sure there was another way through, but then I realized that these were people at the garage sale. And they were just walking through to look at more of my neighbor's belongings for sale. As more people came walking through, I couldn't believe that strangers were walking through this bathroom, never even noticing me sitting on the toilet with my pants down because they were so focused on looking through someone else's belongings. I don't know. I don't think I have bathroom issues, but I just don't like feeling so exposed. Thank you.
Like going to the bathroom and everyone in the world is
watching you go to the bathroom. But that actually originally, that notion started of writing your dreams because David Rubin used to do that, who was the person that actually started this open mic in December '96. And he would have dreams poems, and I'm like, I should put those down every once in a while. Because I usually never remember dreams, but then every once in a while you're like, what was that? And you're just like, I gotta put that down. So, but that's enough about dreams because I want to get back to the real world. The real world with our next open micer. Please give it up for Jerry Pendergast. Here, come on there.
Okay, yesterday was the 17th of September, so happy halfway to St. Patrick's Day. I first saw signs for halfway to St. Patrick's Day parties coming home from Navy Pier, a Holly Near concert actually in the 80s sometime. Now I have to say, in some pubs that have halfway to St. Patrick's Day parties, you will hear some pretty good music, and in some others, you're given an opportunity to be half Irish on your backside. One of my favorite contemporary poet from Ireland, from County Derry. No, I do not mean Londonderry. Seamus Heaney recently died. This is called A Postcard from Ireland by Seamus Heaney. As I dipped to test the stream some yards away from a hot spring, I could hear nothing but the whole mudslick muttering and boiling. And then my guide behind me saying, lukewarm. And I think you'd want to know that luk was an old Icelandic word for hand. And you would want to know, but you know already, how usual that waft and pressure felt when the inner palm of water found my palm. This is called Ode to a Billboard in a Subway. Time to emit gloss. Ode to a Time magazine billboard in a subway. Time to emit gloss. The eye, a bottle of early times, but it could be fine wine, a high-rise condo building, or a tall needle and syringe. My eyes drop to a bottle peeking out of a paper bag at the edge of the tracks. I imagine eyes peeking out of a window on the Magnificent Mile. Could be naked, could have binoculars. Magnan shoppers exiting the store, some hailing cabs, boarding buses, descending subway steps, large bags in hand. I imagine the eye, a finger, pushing a needle and thread through a cloth at a lower hourly rate, a lower hourly wage than the price of time. I promise you none of my poems are 3 pages long tonight. This is called national security, something we're all concerned about, right?
That's why the NSA, we're recording all open mics. I watch everything.
Extra ears on the wires, extra clear receivers, mouthpieces. Private line becomes party line. Coded suggestions from suspecting suspects, candy-coated promises, heartbreak tales from the less aware. Human tentacles push buttons, surf the wires, hoping to uncover conspiracies. Electronic and human ears listening. Hands, eyes, ears dig through printouts, absorb recordings for spoken, written statements outside the bipartisan line. Whose words are filed? Who decides? What are the rules? Okay, Janet, how are we on time?
Well, I was actually going to tell people we got one other open mic, and I would say if people want to come up again. So if you want to do another one, go right on ahead. Yeah.
Okay. I've attempted to sing a few times, and as I said, it's not because I really think I'm a singer, but I'm looking for collaborators on several songs. As I said, this week is the halfway to St. Patrick's Day week. But this isn't. I'm not introducing any right-wing preachers or laments for college jocks. So that's why I'm a little more nervous about singing this, because this time I'm not trying to be funny. A lot of you are probably familiar with the William Butler Yeats poem called Easter 1916. This is called Easter 2013 ? It's not 3 pages, it's just one in a paragraph, one in a stanza. Okay. Okay.
He's going to find it. Give him a break. He's going to find it.
Some of Aaron's faithless sons and daughters forced you to work for a laundry chain. Take away your dignity, they called it Magdalene. Said your sins would leave you from the cracks of your raw hands. Could have been that same night we sang a song for Bobby Sands. Followed with an anthem for the heroes of 16. Mellowed out with a tribute to a beautiful Colleen. I think it's time we cleared the fog, paid your wages due. Will anyone in a pub tonight sing a rebel song for you? I wonder if in early years there was any happy time before they locked you in a holy workhouse, convicted of no crime. I think it's time we cleared the fog, gave you the respect you're due. Will anyone on the street today sing a song of freedom for you? It's 17 years since they shut the last. Now they say it's time to probe reasons for your shattered nerves and cracked raw hands, and verbal stones cast your way from brides of Christ, lived in luxury from pimps and collars and robes. I think it's time we cleared the fog, gave your voices some years long overdue. Did anyone on the way to Mass wear an Easter lily for you?
He's a journeyman.
Thank you, thank you.
Oh, yeah,
Because
that's
that's ugh.
sacred text.
I know it looks that stuff. And hi, you heard me saying it before.
Because we've got a more intimate crowd this evening, the last open micer will be coming up next. And I have been putting things from magazines and stuff in between, so I wouldn't be coming up for a second round because easily I already have gone well beyond that. But if anybody would like to come up after Michael Hogue, we would always take another reader before we take a break for our phenomenal feature premiere, guys. Oh yeah! And in fact, I should get this out of the way right now because I'm just rattling around this happy bag, which I'm just destroying and spinning like mad. But I want everybody, because this guy is so worth it. I love you. What do I have? Give me something in the pocket. Put your life savings into it. If you've got to put, change in, I suppose you can, but whatever you can do, because this man is so incredibly worth it. I'm going to pass this around. Actually, instead of throwing it, I'm going to pass it around after the open mic. But I had said before that I am working on a book with Alan Steva with translations, and I had covered the accident portion of it. So since I had done rape education research for years, and I know lots and lots of stories about it, I have one or two pieces about that as well that I'd share with you. This first one is called Gasoline. The stench of gasoline makes me ill as it sound crosses through my brain. I want you to want me the way that I want you, and I am tired of fighting. I don't think I can fight anymore, but I have to. I can't let you do this. These are my rights. You can't hurt me like this. Then maybe I'll just force you. You say, I push you away, I try to stop you, and all I keep hearing is that damn song. I can't escape it. I know that you want me. Just tell me you need me. I want you. I am too angry to cry, and too frightened to scream. I shove, I move, but nothing stops you. You are my sensation, a perfect temptation. I wish that song would stop. I wish everything would stop. Your touch scares me and your stare haunts me, so I scratch and I scream until the novelty is lost for you. No, I will not tell you I want you, for I can't let you do this. These are my rights, and you just can't do this to me. Yay! Don't attack. I mean, it's straight. Sorry. A very, very short one because I did this work for you all. This is Rape Education 2. I told a friend that I worked for acquaintance rape action groups. She confided in me, told me that she was raped when she was 16. You see, it went like this. Her boyfriend was 23, and she was just in high school, and she was drunk, and she didn't know what to do. And all I could think was that more and more people are telling me stories like this. It's a strange thing to think of, but yeah, and I'm very nauseous. So seriously, if there are other open micers that want to come up, and I can even hand you that cc&d or your Bible Bobster or whatever you'd like. But give it up for Mr. Michael Hogan.
I was telling Janet, I thought the hospital poem was really neat because it had all that thunder in the background. They added to the drama.
Yeah.
Well, I got 2 poems. I'm going there walking. I'm not sitting anymore. I'm going there with supports. I'm not covering windows this time. I'm looking at water with water in my eyes. I'm looking at air with air all around. I'm going there with paper. I'm not writing any longer. Running for your homes, fire behind, go to the gravel road, stone throw, to the streams, into the ports in the air, to the moles and the holes underground. Chairs for ears, water rings for eyes. You're seeping and leaking, you're escaping with spare things. I'm going there repeating, I'm not getting measured once more. I'm going there with air inside, I'm not getting adopted any time. If numbers went up and down, if numbers lost their rage and fury, I could organize hands, I could go northwest. I'm going there for incidents, I'm not accidental ever again. Thanks. All right, let's see.
This is a test of the emergency broadcasting system. Sorry.
It's like a tornado in Chicago. Oh, I'm getting scared. This is an interesting one. It's sort of a true poem.
Oh, that's interesting.
Well, this poem is based on a true story. My coffee pot is broken. I add water and it murmurs. I clean the filter and it lingers. I've unbolted the faceplate, but nothing looks wrong. I've lined the plate warmer with oak and mulberries and quince. I've cleaned the handles with grated powder and crocus cloth. I know it doesn't like a straight cord or a traditional filter or tapping. I know it ignores things with crosses and things with parallel lines, and empty fruit and cut paper. On its little kitchen shelf it pines and doesn't work. So I plug it into a different outlet and it'll go sometimes, and by the window it works a lot. So I take my coffee pot outside with an extension cord for the bird smells and slapping leaves when blue is thick and feet are down, and for all the singing things. And now I know my coffee pot relishes and would rather paint a line to count chickens and sit with threes and stand with floors. Now I see my coffee pot favors and prefers right thumbs to left fingers and egg rubs to piling fish. With it here, me there, my coffee pot shows me the hours and all about facing and how to set a ground wire and when to turn the plug. So we got married and now we're happy and gurgle and cough in our fresh seasons and finger dry days.
They only get 2? There's a lot for me. It's a lot for me, but there's only 2 because it makes me so sad. Because it comes all this way and I never see them, and I just get little scraps and pieces and everything, and I'm not reading anymore. The end. Is there a Joffrey? I know Bob's for my read something for cc&d.
I got one more.
Joffrey, come up with one more. Give it up for Joffrey. Come on up here.
These are like haiku. The title here, I'll give it a title. Democracy Explained.
Somebody explained about it.
The IRS possesses the voter, then repossessed by vote fraud. And this is a double haiku. The title is Practicing Religion. For the suicide bomber, heaven is a place where there are no Israelis. But if his bomb misfires, the fuse only, he wakes up in hell.
I can go this way. Sorry, I was trying to stay on your way. Thank you. That's awesome. And I think Bobster was going to read something. You don't know if you're a Bobster man. You're just a Bob. We can do another clap.
All right, here's one more from cc&d. This is by Mel Waldman.
This is by Mel Waldman, and it's called When a Young Therapist Gushes Guilt After His Patient's Suicide. When a young therapist gushes guilt after his patient's suicide, he drops into a desolate abyss and disappears. Why? He shrieks in the catacombs of his mournful mind as a wildfire sweeps across his private wasteland of lamentations and melting brain matter. Why? He whispers as his sacred identity of healer and fixer dissolves, disintegrates, and dies in a frozen nanosecond. Why? Now in his first year of practice, imprinted in his shattered psyche is the traumatic image of a hopeless man hanging high, swaying back and forth above a wooden rocking chair, beneath a cracked ceiling, inside a merciless, suffocative noose in a seething suicide room. A dead thing, dangling and drowning in nothingness, without a soul or the whisper of immortality. Why? He howls from the abyss, gushing guilt throughout his long, endless night of unbearable grief, one elongated night, or decades stretching across a vast desert of despair or salvation. What path will he choose? Victim or survivor? Fallen angel or healer? A young therapist dreams. Within this visionary dream, an alchemist transforms darkness into light, and light into the gold of love and redemption. What path will he choose? What do you believe in the labyrinth of your broken soul?
It's Mel Waldman.
Mel Waldman.
It's a
No relation.
cc&d.
No relation to Anne.
To Anne Waldman? Okay, anyway. I just like the fireworks. They're all cool. Jerry, did you have another piece you'd like to do?
Yeah, one that's one stanza and one a few stanzas.
Then we can pull that off. Get on up one more time for Jerry. Get on up here. I know that Michael doesn't have more, even though, you know, I brought 2 this time. It was all the way up to 2.
This is called conjugations. Verbs in transit. Subjects tense. Buy, own, has owned, will have owned, when able to sell, at a loss. My drum. Echoes. Reverberates through your streets. We march with sashes across our chests, protected by constables. The beat saturating your block and others near. That was part 1. 2, my drum is light, flexible, with a small wood block or a hand. I can scatter the notes, change the tempo or the volume quickly. I can play it on the run, can easily hide it if you make it illegal again. 3, our drums, hard plastic. We hold them between our legs, our hands tapping together or soloing. Sometimes different beats, sometimes the same. We can flip them. Now they're just buckets. If we get enough in tips, maybe we can buy that license.
Thank you very much. And I think 2 runs from all of us happy, awesome people is enough. So I tell you that you've got 5 minutes. I want you to keep Teresa extra busy and get lots and lots and lots of refills, because in just a few minutes we'll have a great, great feature from Eric Esden. Thank you, thank you, thank you.